And now, we're going to hear from himself. Don, could you come up and say a few words? A few words. Oh, and sing a couple of songs.
Getting really late, so I'm going to have to make my little message to you rather short. My daughter's over there saying, yeah. Well, family, they get used to you, you know. But I want to thank Mayor Lewis for that great comment. And I want to thank all of you for coming here. And I would thank all of our sponsors for our walks. I thank Cenex for giving us money for fuel. And the Brooks Sports, they've given us quite a bit of money, $42,000 worth in shoes and clothing over the last 10 years. That's a lot of money. And for the motel and the hotel owners and the bed and breakfast and people who put us up for over 572 nights of my walking on the road, they saved us over $72,000 in lodging. These things make the walk more comfortable. And I do thank my precious wife for sticking in there with me and for loving me in spite of what I am, and for driving in front of me instead of behind me because I was afraid she might get aggravated and run over me. But I think that's why she really stayed in front of me most of the time. She did a good job. She wouldn't let me in the car. She made me walk and eat. Wouldn't let me sit down. And I don't know. Well, don't know if she's that good a wife after all. We have some good friends from the Spinal Bifida Association too. And this I want to give to you as a mention of prayer. This young man came up to me and handed me his card. And you know what I'm going to say. He was asking me if I would consider a walk for spinal bifida. It's not funny. So I told him I would make it a matter of prayer. And I will. And what God wills, we will do. And my wife understands this. I told her this was my last walk. It is. I haven't done any since. But I had some statistics here that I used in case you were wondering. I walked 13,000 miles in 21 months and 3 days, or 26 million steps. Now, if you do 2 steps a second and you keep doing that, you will be at 13,000 miles, and it's going to take you 4,333 hours to do that. Imagine if I was paid union wages for that. The total walk took me 17 states. I wore out 15 pairs of shoes. Over the course of the last 10 years, I have walked 40,000 miles for others. That equals to 13,000 hours and 80 million steps. The walk for Huntington's disease generated over $25,000. It's a small amount. To me, that's just a drop in the bucket. I really feel that the greatest, if we count my walk by the money I brought in, it was a dire failure. It was a flop. I would have done better to stay home and write a check and forget about it. But that wasn't why I was walking. I was walking to raise awareness and to show love and to give hope to people who have no hope. And I had people come up to me and saying that this had given them hope just because they knew that someone who wasn't behind a telescope or a microscope or wasn't in a laboratory somewhere looking for a cure, but someone was out there, just a common, ordinary person, showing them that they cared, and that gave them hope. I walked for Jack Matire. He's a good man. And I walked for his family because I love them and because they needed to be shown hope. I walked for a young lady in Ohio that I met at a McDonald's stand. She came up and told me, she says, you know, my husband has Huntington's disease and we didn't even know that it was in his family. His father died from something else. And they have children now, and they didn't even know that the disease was in the family. And they have this worry now, what are they going to do for the children? And the husband is in the extreme end of Huntington's disease. He has the chorea part where he can't control his body, his muscle functions, or his facial expressions. He can't talk. And this is a young lady about 20 years old. And she can't get her baby tested to see if he has the disease because he has to wait until he's 18 years old to be tested because of privacy acts. And I walk for a family in Indiana. The whole family has Huntington's disease except for the father. The grandmother has it, the mother has it, the 2 children have it. And they run a flour mill in Indiana. They're very good people. They love God with all of their hearts, and they're upbeat. They know they have the disease. They know what's coming on out there if they live long enough, what they have to look forward to. But the mother said, you know, Don, I look at it this way. God has given us one day at a time, and that's the way we're going to live it. And the greatest man who ever lived told us to do the same thing. Don't worry about tomorrow, but be concerned about the things of today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. And if we each one live for this day that we're in now and not worry about tomorrow, our lives will be better for us. You can invest for tomorrow, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about what you're going to be or what you're going to do or what's going to come to you. I walked for a young lady from Eatonville who sent me an email and said she has this disease, but she can't tell anybody because her father won't admit that he has it. And so she has to cover up with something else if people ask her if she has it. But this young lady also has MS plus Huntington's disease, which is even worse. And we met her in the park. We brought her down to the park and met her. This wonderful young lady, she was asked by the president of the chapter in the state of Washington if she would run the Huntington Disease Walkathon this year. And she did. She took over. She's living day by day. And she has a very godly grandmother that she lives with. And lo and behold, her father was there giving her moral support. And before, she couldn't have this wonderful fellowship with the father because of his denial of this disease. We met him in Idaho, and he said, you know I have the disease, and I've come to task with it now. And they're good Christian people, and they're coming along fine. I walk for these people. I walk for, I don't know, my memory, I can't count all the people I've met along the way. Almost every town, almost every city, every state, we met people with Huntington's disease, and they were